Pro players such as Nico or Rops are notorious for their incredible aim, but all of their aim stems from a few foundational skills that provide them with such a mechanical advantage. In this video, I'll be covering all these skills in separate videos leading into the first of the series, Crosshair Placement. Here, let's talk about Crosshair Placement. Now, to start, what is Crosshair Placement and why do we use it? Crosshair Placement is the process of placing a crosshair in a position that maximizes your chances of killing an enemy in the least amount of time possible. For most games, this will be aiming for the head. This is typically why you see most pro players keeping the crosshair at head height. This is to make sure that they can kill enemies quick, easy, and effortlessly without requiring any crazy flicks. Because one, it takes a long time to reposition your crosshair if you need to flick it. And two, it also won't guarantee the kill. So if I'm coming up Inferno and I'm in cutout, and I swing at this dude, and I think it's going to be close left, I expose myself to the angle, I have this massive distance to flick, and I won't guarantee the kill. So this guy is probably aiming at me right here, and if I come out, he gets an easy free kill while I need a flick. Sometimes you will hit it, other times, and most of the time, you won't. Let's talk about the pro scene. If you have any idea about the pro scene or have watched any pro matches, you would have probably noticed how the GOATs of the game, because Nico and Rops, like I mentioned before, have such a high level of discipline when it comes to crosshair placement. When they exit Inferno Banana, for example, you'll probably see a lot of pro players take their time, really clear out each of the angles. They come up here, they're checking car, right side of car, they check, enemy there, check the corner, dead. And then obviously they need to come around the corner, clear out sandbags, and they take it very slow, very disciplined, 1 kill at a time. As you can see, we just cleared out 6 enemies, right? But obviously the typical silver, gold, Master Guardian player will come out, get the first kill, get the second kill, but look, I've just exposed myself to 2 angles. And this is especially with sandbags, right? When they come out of here, they never clear them separately. What you're supposed to do is crouch and kill that dude, and then come up and kill that guy. And in my games, especially in Face Level 8 and Face Level 9, I love to play this double angle where I have a player here, and then I have my teammate standing here watching the angle, or in this back area to trade me if I can't get the kill. Another common thing that pros typically do, like I mentioned before, is they have their crosshair on a wall before peeking a common angle. Now, this is known as pre-aiming, and is essentially the bread and butter of aim. So we'll talk about it in a second, but pretty much what they're trying to do is minimize the amount of time their mouse has to move during an engagement to provide themselves an easy fight 9 times out of 10. So this is a very common angle in car, holding the close right, not too exposed, so they don't have to expose themselves to like a million angles. So they just sit very close to cutout on car. And what you want to do is if you're the first person to spawn, you come up here, come to cutout, and then you'll see pros, they aim their crosshair on the wall, and then they swing out and get the kill, right? So instead of putting a crosshair here and then swinging out and getting the kill, you just do this. You can do it the same here. I know the guy will probably be very close here. Dead, corner, dead. Crosshair is on the guy behind the wall. You want to visualize this. Sandbags, you know the guy's going to be here, dead. If there was a guy in this corner here, for example, dead. Coffins, very common angle. Putting out, headshot, dead, right? For them, they see a dude for like 2 seconds, bang, and they're dead. So we're going to talk about pre-aiming in a second, but it is very, very important. Another thing is flicking. Like I said before, they also do this so they can focus on more important things during the game, such as rotates or the economy or executes. Because if you're thinking too much about your aim, then you will get bad aim, right? The more unconscious and subconscious aim that you can focus on, so if you can leave all that to your subconscious side of the brain, you'll hit far more shots than what you would if you're thinking about your aim. So if I'm thinking about peeking this angle and thinking about pre-aiming, I'm not going to be as accurate as I would if I just knew did it so many times, right? Obviously, when you're starting to pre-aim and you've never done it before, you need to go over it a few more times, but you want to make it as unconscious and subconscious as possible. Let's talk about how we can fix crosshair placement, right? So say you've never played CSGO before, you've never taken it seriously before, maybe you're just trying to get into Face It now, trying to get a higher rank in Face It, or trying to get Global Elite. Let's talk about the main areas to focus on. Now, there's 3 main areas that we have to focus on for great crosshair placement. Number 1 is understanding each map and where enemies can and will play. Like I said, the common spots, car, corner, sandbags, behind sandbags. Number 2 is pre-aim. And number 3 is counter-strafing. So stopping the movement to make yourself as accurate as possible. So let's go through. Understanding the most common and popular spots people like to play on each map will give you a foundation as to where you should place your crosshair before you peek said angle. And next time you pick car from cutout of banana, for example, I want you to visualize where the enemy's head will be. So when you peek into the angle, you have a free kill 99% of the time, all right? Being able to visualize where the enemies will play and can play is very important to success. This is pretty much the fundamentals of pre-aim. If you want to learn all like the potential spots enemies can be and practice your crosshair placement, I would highly recommend Jesper's YPrac workshop maps. He's made a map for almost every single map. But all you have to do is go to the workshop and download one of his maps. So here I've downloaded the Mirage, Cash, Inferno, Dust 2, and Nuke. And then he has a bot trainer, which is just for aim. But let's hop into the Inferno one. If you've never played CSGO before, I'd highly recommend just downloading the Dust 2, the Mirage, the Inferno. Now, when you load into the map, first thing you want to do, come to your free fire. What you want to do is shoot it, select your gun. So we'll be choosing AK. Actually, no, that's the enemy's guns. That's your health. And then you can choose a variety of different locations. So at the bottom left, it tells you where the location is. So the first route is mid to, let's do banana to B. So you hop on the platform and you start. And now what I like to do at the start is have these little underlines of where the enemies will be. So you know exactly where they will be, okay? So you can get a feel where the enemies like playing. So when you come up here, just practice your aim and making sure you separate as much of these fights as possible. Okay, you don't want to expose yourself to multiple angles because then you will die in game. And we just want to go up, clear out each angle one at a time. This probably looks very familiar. What I showed you. Now up here, come to sandbags. Obviously, the more you do it, the faster you'll get. But it's separating one fight at a time, right? When you come into a real game, you will see most pro players, they'll actually be clearing each of these angles one by one, all right? So they don't have an uneven fight. Now, obviously, up here gets a little tricky, needing to peek, so you have to peek with your teammates. You have to decide which side you want to peek. But as you can see, you come up here, the orange. But I think you get it, right? Essentially, what you want to do is you want to do this map maybe 3 or 4 times every day just to get into the feel of it. And then when you really understand what you want to do, you get rid of the question mark and it won't put the lines underneath. So you can focus on clearing the angles by yourself without the need of knowing where the enemies will be. See, like I exposed myself to 2 angles there. Should have done it slower. Just clearing one at a time, taking your time, you know. To end the video off, I want to quickly talk about the third point, the final point, which is counter strafing. Now, I will be making a more in-depth guide about counter strafing in the near future and about movement in general, like b-hopping. So stay tuned for that. But let's talk about counter strafing. I'm sure you've heard of this hundreds of times, but I'll be really, really brief, really quick. And I want to outline a few very important mechanics in the game. Now, the first mechanic is when you're moving, your bullets are inaccurate. So no matter how much you run, your bullets will never hit the head. But when you're completely still, the bullets are very, very accurate. They're not 100% accurate, but they are 99% accurate. What you want to do to be a good player is have a good bit of standing still to hit the shots and then movement to dodge the shots, right? You want to be a very difficult player to hit, but you also want to be a very accurate player. So a very good routine to get into this groove and being better at aiming and counter strafing as a whole is to work on your counter strafing, okay? So if you're moving A, if you let go of A, you move for this brief period of time, right? So if I'm holding A and I let go, you see how I like move a little bit? And the same is said for D, right? I like kind of like glide, I slide, and if I let go of D and start shooting, I'm still inaccurate until I completely stand still. So when you're counter strafing, you hold A and then you tap D. You hold D, you tap A. Hold A, tap D. Hold D, tap A, right? So when you're moving, you want to tap the opposite movement key to completely stop you in place. So you can become as accurate as soon as you need to. So if there's an enemy behind this door, you can counter strafe, boom, like that. Instead of swinging and being inaccurate for the first few shots, which he or she could easily kill you with, okay? So a very good exercise that I learned from Austin is strafing left and right, and then putting little bursts in between these. So you want to go A, burst, D, burst, A, burst, D, burst. You want to keep doing this back and forth. So you go A, and then you counter strafe, you tap the D key, and then shoot 3 bullets, and then you go D, tap A, shoot 3 bullets. 3 bullets, 3 bullets, 3 bullets, 3 bullets, 3 bullets. And you want to do this again and again and again and again until you mess it up. A bullet will go straight, right? Because for most of the time, if you're very good with it, your bullets will be in these very tight pockets. But if you see a stray bullet out here, you want to clear it, restart. You want to do this for about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe before you get into deathmatch or before you warm up, go into Kovacs. But this is, yeah, see, look, that bullet was stray, right? I tried moving too early. But yeah, you do this. And then another one you could do is this. So in between your strafing keys, just as you're changing your direction of movement, there's a moment of stillness where you're not moving. What you want to do is you hold A, and then when you tap D, you shoot. Tap D, 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 shoot. And when you're tapping D and shooting, they're almost like happening simultaneously, right? So then eventually, if you get really good at it, you can go A, D, 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 right? Obviously, this isn't a skill that's necessarily as important as counter strafing, because you're not going to be doing a lot of these one taps. You're going to be focusing more on bursts or sprays, because that's when you're going to get your kills. But it's a good skill to know. So, yeah. Hope you learned something. This was Cab. See you in the next one.